Good morning, you guys. Happy Saturday. I just wanted to get on here. Um, yes, you guys, you're reading the title correctly. Some people will just never be happy, you guys. Misery loves company. What I've come to the conclusion about anything that disrupts my peace, I don't want anything to do with it. Um, I don't want anything to do with it if it's going to disrupt my peace or interfere with my flow or um interfere with my finances. And unfortunately, there are a lot of miserable people out here, you guys. There are a lot of people out here who are just not happy. They're just not happy. And as long as they're seeing you happy, it bothers them when you're happy and they're not happy. And like I told you guys, I don't like codependent people. I don't like people who rely on me to validate them in their existence. And it's even beyond just their existence, it's also their mood, their feelings, their emotions, etc. I am not here to carry the weight of other people. And I know that this is something that I'm still working on because a lot of times people come into my life and they think that I am here to help them or to fix them. I'm not here to help or fix anybody. My job is to focus on my well being as well as my children and our happiness. And it is definitely something that a lot of people need to really really work on. They need to work on their own path and their own happiness, because we are not responsible for other people's feelings, emotions, thoughts, actions, etc. And I think a lot of people who just don't have a life, they don't have a purpose, they assume that your purpose is to help them to find theirs. In some cases, some people honestly think that your life is a part of their life. I mean, unless you're married and things like that, my life is its own independent path. And a lot of these people out here, like I said, who don't have a life and they don't have a life purpose, they will often try to seek validation and things like that through others. And it is a very very sad way to live. It is a very very sad way to exist. I'm just at the point, you guys, I'm just really tired of the drama that some people bring into my life. And it's not my drama, it's not my chaos, it's theirs. I am so tired of the constant projection, the negativity, the toxicity that these individuals bring, because it is so draining. You guys have to understand that there are negative people out here and there are positive people. And negative people often are just so negative, you guys. Everything that comes out of their mouth and what they do is just negative and it's very toxic. And it's not beneficial to my growth and where I'm going and what I'm trying to do. And like I told you guys, it's going to be important that you guys start cutting off these types of people out of your life, because they will absolutely suck you dry. And this is what a lot of negative people do. They will suck you dry. They will purposely come into your life just to make your life miserable, and or to literally deplete you of the energy that you have. and where you're trying to go, and your growth and your happiness and your freedom and your liberation. These people who are like this, you guys, I call them energy vampires. You know, when you're talking to these people, they're just zapping your energy. You feel very drained, you feel very tired. This is what these people do. They're energy life snatchers. um you have to protect your energy, you have to protect your peace, and you have to keep your distance away from these miserable people. Even these people who are sitting up online worrying about what single women are doing, these people don't have a life. You know, they don't have a life. Because if these people were truthfully happy in their lives, they would not be fixated on what single women are doing. Especially you men who are single and or married. Why are you worried about what single women are doing? Clearly, you're single because you can't find anybody. Versus me, I'm single because, of course, I can't find anybody. I can't find anyone that I'm compatible with. But even outside of that, I enjoy being single. I enjoy not having a partner because I don't want to be dealing with another person's thoughts, feelings, emotions, or or their trauma. I don't want to deal with that. I'm not signing up for that. Hence why I'm choosing to be single. I love my peace. I love being able to do what I want to do in my life without a man having to tell me what to do. That's the good thing about being single. I don't have to worry about a man telling me what I need to do. You know, versus a woman who wants to be involved with a man, she has to listen to this man and answer to him. I don't. And if Akina wants to go to work, Akina can go to work. If Akina wants to make money, Akina can make money. If Akina wants to work 40 hours a week, Akina can do that. You know, but when you're involving yourself with a man, you have to listen to him and get his approval and permission on this, and that. I'm not answering to a man. None of you men out here have legitimately made my life better than what I'm doing. You have not legitimately made my life better than what I'm doing. And that's the part these men don't understand. They think that they are the prize. They think that their existence is something that should be glorified, or that women are this God's great gift to them. No, you men, you don't get to have access to that. You don't get to have access to that. You don't get to tell women what to do who are single. I don't need your permission, men, to do anything. And that's the part you men don't understand. Women are not your objects or property. And as a single woman, I don't have to listen to you. If you're not paying my bills and you're not financially taking care of me and my children, I don't have to listen to you. Okay? You're not my husband, I don't have to listen to you. And you men walk around here and you think because you are a man, we're supposed to listen to you. No, women are supposed to obey and serve their husbands and respect their husbands. It didn't say that women were supposed to obey, serve, and respect random men. So, no, a single woman does not have to listen to you if you are a man, regardless of what your status is, whether you're married or single. That single woman does not have to listen to you as a man. Because if you're not her husband, she does not have to obey, respect, or serve you. The only woman who should be obeying, serving, and respecting her man is that man's wife. And until you make a woman to be your wife, she is not obligated to listen to you or any other man out here. Okay. And this is why once again, women who are single, who are child free, we have more sovereignty and more rights over ourselves. Because, ladies, as you can see, this is about men wanting to control women, put women back into a position of self servitude. And they think because they are a man, they are entitled to these things. You're not entitled to anything, man. You're not entitled to anything. Like I had to get one man connected, corrected and connected with on last night. I felt like it was necessary for me to go out and have a good time with some friends. He was under the assumption that I was going out with men. And I had to get him corrected to let him know, if I do choose to go out with men or any of my friends, I don't think I need your approval to do that. I don't think I need your approval to do that. I can put my clothes on and I can go out with my friends, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, he got upset. He got upset because I wanted to go out with some friends, which you guys know it's my girlfriends. But even regardless of the fact, if it had been some men friends, which I don't plan on going out with men friends, it was just the assumption that he made when I said that I was going out. He assumed that it would be with men friends. Um, I never gave him the indication that I was going out with men friends. Um, it was just a mere fact. He thought he can control me going out. And I told him I will do as I choose when I feel like it. And there's nothing you can do about it. You know, you're not my husband. We're not exclusively dating. So I really don't owe you an explanation about what I do in my personal life. What I do in my personal life is my business, right? But these men figure, that they have the right to know what you're doing, and this is why they're so fixated on what single women are doing. These are single men worrying about what single women are doing. As a single man, men, why don't you go mind your business instead of worrying about what we're doing? What we're doing is none of your business. What we choose to do with our personal lives and our sexual lives are none of your business. Okay? I don't go around policing what you men do. I don't go around policing what you do in the bedroom. It's your business. And if a single woman wants to get out here and date and have consensual sex with a man that's not her husband, that's none of your business. Okay? Your business needs to be what you're doing and what you want from a woman if you choose to get out here and date. Okay? And I think you ladies need to start putting some stronger boundaries down with these men, because they honestly think that you are their property and you have to do what they say do. Just like these men who get up on here and talk about how they want women to look and all this stuff. I don't care what you men are talking about. You're wasting your breath even talking about what you want in a woman and what you want a woman to do and how you want a woman to look. I don't think that's any of your business pertaining to what we're doing. Single women who are single are minding their business and they're not out here dating. So when you hear a woman say that I'm single by choice, what she is saying is I'm single by choice. I'm not available for any man to date. Okay. This woman is literally saying she's not on the market to be dating. She doesn't want to date, hence the single by choice title. When you hear a woman say that I am single, but I'm actively looking for a partner, that's a woman who's single but is available to be dating. She's available to be dating and she's available to be dated. Okay. And I think you men need to understand proper context. I am single by choice, which means I don't want to date. I'm choosing to be single because I love my peace. I love my freedom and I love my liberation and bodily autonomy. And I don't need a man to tell me what to do in my life. I don't need a man to tell me what to do in my life. Okay. I do what I want to do when I feel like it. If Akina wants to put on her clothes and go out and have a good time, I can do that. If Akina wants to lay up in her bed and just eat snacks all day, I can do that. If Akina wants to get out here and have fun adult time with a man of my picking, I can do that. If Akina wants to do this, or that, Akina can do this, or that. Why? Because I don't have to answer to a man. I'm not living with the man. I'm not married to a man. So I don't have to explain anything to a man. I don't owe any man out here any explanation other than to my children. That's it. That's it. That's the only people that I owe an explanation about my life is to my children. And even with that, that would only be determined by who they're around and who I allow around them, and vice versa. Outside of that, I don't owe you men anything. I don't owe you any explanation. I don't owe you anything. That's it. But you men make it seem like women owe you this, or that. Women don't owe you anything, men. Women don't owe you anything. But yeah, you guys are definitely fixated on what women are doing, and you're so invested in women's lives to the point where you can't cultivate your own path and your own life because you're so busy worried about what women are doing. You men should find your own happiness and your own path, and you need to create it. Go get some hobbies, make some new friends, go travel, do something to be happy instead of bringing your misery to women, because that's what a lot of you men are doing. You're just projecting your loneliness, your fears, your misery onto women who are simply minding their business. Okay. And I just noticed that miserable people who are never happy in their lives, they're so invested in what other people are doing. And some of them will even go to the means of self sabotaging other people's lives and relationships because they don't have one. They don't have a life outside of your life. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, that these men don't have a life because their life is just consumed by what women are doing, and this and that, and it's sad. Um like I said, ladies, you guys definitely need to kind of, start putting some boundaries down with these men, and literally start holding these men accountable for a lot of stuff that they're doing, because these men don't want to be held accountable. They don't think they need to be held accountable because they don't think that they're doing anything. Excuse me, they don't think that they're doing anything wrong. They think that you're the problem and they don't need to change. But I'm not even waiting around, like I told you guys, on these men to change. I'm not waiting around on them to change. I'm not expecting them to change. None of those things. It's kind of like you either need to come right or don't come at all. You need to respect my boundaries or you can move the fuck on. That's where I'm at. It's just that simple. Once I start laying my boundaries down and you as a man don't respect those boundaries or you can't measure up to those boundaries, you can just move on. There's no in between. There's no need to be talking about anything. And that's what I'm saying. Relationships are about compromise and respecting boundaries, and a lot of you men don't respect women's boundaries. That's why you're not, that's why you don't have a girlfriend. That's why you don't have a woman, because you don't respect women's boundaries. You think keep challenging a woman's boundaries is going to make her give in to you. Actually, it's going to make her enforce more boundaries against you, and in some cases, not even deal with you at all. You can't go around trying to bully women to deal with you or challenge women to deal with you. And I've had men do that. I will tell them something that I'm not going to do, and instead of these men respecting that, they will continuously keep trying to push and push and push and push themselves into my life. And what eventually happens is I eventually become frustrated and tired, and I begin to set more and more boundaries with them. And uh to the point where in some cases I just cut them off. I just cut these men off because once you start overstepping my boundaries repeatedly, or I have to keep telling you no about something and you can't respect it, you might as well just go ahead and block me and move on because I don't want to deal with you anymore. And that's exactly what's going on with a lot of these men. They just don't respect women's boundaries because they don't respect women. They don't like women, and they think doing what they're doing is the only way to get them to access to a woman. Unfortunately, a lot of you men miss out on relationships with women because of your behavior. Me, I only set my boundaries one time, and if you can't respect them, I'm gone. I'm gone. I don't want anything else to do with you. And if you're not willing to compromise and put in the teamwork or effort to make a relationship work, regardless if it's friendship or romantic, I don't want anything to do with you. I don't want anything to do with you. And a lot of these men just don't understand that women have boundaries. We have boundaries and standards to protect ourselves from many of you because we know that many of you don't respect boundaries or our standards. And we have to set those things to protect ourselves from you because you have demonstrated that you're not someone that we feel emotionally safe around. You're not owed anything. We don't care what you're talking about. I've just made up in my mind. You can't respect my boundaries. There's the door. If I'm building a relationship with you and I see so many red flags with you, I'm gone. I'm not even going to waste my time dealing with you or trying to even maneuver through the complexity of the situation with you. And I've had to like cut off men who are just too complex, who are just too far damaged and too far gone beyond repair. What I eventually do with these types of men, I just cut them off and go on about my life. And I don't want anything else to do with them. Men who are dismissive and don't like to be held accountable, and men who don't like to take responsibility for themselves or their behavior, I'm not even going to deal with those types of men. I'm not even going to deal with them. I just cut them off and go on about my business. And a lot of you men are proving why women should just stay single because you have not demonstrated that you are safe for this woman to be around, less more to have, for you to have access to. And it's a sad reality because these men refuse to change. Like I keep telling you guys, they refuse to change, they refuse to evolve, they refuse to take accountability, they just refuse to do a lot because they don't think that they're the problem. And like I told you guys, I'm not about to sacrifice any more of my peace behind these men. I have made up in my mind I'm not going to sacrifice any more of my peace for these men. So if you men can't come right, then don't even approach me at all. You can't respect my boundaries, then I'm gone. I'm not even gonna sit here and go back and forth with you men. You can't measure up to what I'm looking for in a partner. I'm gone. I'm just done with all of that. And I know that relationships are hard work. But like I said, trying to deal with someone who is just toxic and chaotic and just does not like boundaries or respects boundaries or standards, it's not going to be easy to deal with someone like that. Ladies, choose yourself, put yourself first. Stop worrying about these men and what they're doing. And I really wish that they would stop worrying about what we're doing and go on about their lives and their business. Because what it is, they can't control women anymore. They can't control them. So the only way that they can make you feel bad is by getting on here saying the things that they're saying. And like I told you guys, a lot of these men, they just bring they bring a very dark cloud with them. They bring a very dark cloud with them when they are around women, even in the work field and stuff. They're constantly bringing these dark clouds around women, and it's a very toxic thing. Ladies, protect your peace and protect yourselves, because as these men continue to lose control of women, they're going to start becoming more and more violent. And that's going to be something you guys are going to need to be careful of. Um, you're going to need to be careful. But yeah, you guys have a good Saturday. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm on the clock. I'm on the clock for another 30 minutes or so, and then I'm going to get off the clock and then enjoy the rest of my day today. And then tomorrow I'll be on the clock for a little while. But yeah, you guys definitely take care, be safe, and I will definitely see you guys in the next one.